Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd love to give all honor, glory, and praises unto Yahweh, Bar Hashem, Yahweh Shai, right? And honors to the elders that have taught me this truth. I learned chiefly of great millstone, like-minded elders that do teach sound doctrine. Wadi Bar Hashem, Yahweh Shai, for giving me another opportunity to bring out this lesson. Adon Ratazah, it's edifying, comforting, exhorting. I'm in transit, so I'm just going to speak on a few things that was on my mind. As we approach closer to the end, we serve Yahweh, being the Heavenly Father, right? Meaning He exists, He to be, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world called Jesus, right? Whose name is Yahweh Shai. You got the multitude of people that live in the world that pretty much hate us for bringing out this word, bringing out the truth of the scriptures. This is why they want to say, you know, we have a made-up language, a made-up heritage. We're not the true biblical Israelites. And this is how we know it's a spiritual thing and a calling from the Heavenly Father, how we're able to maintain ourselves in this truth, considering the amount of people that's coming against it. And it's going to get worse. So we're definitely in these times going to have to gird up our loins like men and be strong through these perilous times that are coming upon the earth, only to test us. It says the trial of our faith worketh patience, and woe unto them that have lost patience. I mean, you will go down and be destroyed with the rest of this world if you lose patience in waiting on Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's one of the very most important things, is to be patient, because with that patience you're going to be able to endure, and with that endurance Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to grant you salvation. So what I wanted to get into real quick is just you know, understanding we have to go through certain things to reach a certain position. You know, in other words, it's not going to be this ain't, as we say, this ain't a cakewalk. This ain't an easy task. You know, it's a big task for a big reward. A lot of sacrifices has to be made to receive the treasures after the sacrifices. We have to go through, and that's what I'm probably going to title this lesson, and this is the way I had it worded in my mind. We have to go through the prison, or understand how it feels to be in prison, to then enter into a palace. We have to understand what it's like to be afflicted. We have to understand what it's like to suffer, so that we can be rightful judges, that we can understand both ends of the spectrum, if you like. You got these people, these heathens, Esau, Edom, these other nations, which are rich in wealth, which through the blood of our ancestors and even ourselves, as we know, we regenerate or reincarnate, you know, meaning there's nothing new under the sun. We've been here before. You know, these nations have taken advantage of the children of Israel, you know, and they've spoiled us. It says that in the book of Maccabees, First Maccabees, the 2nd chapter, the 10th verse, I believe, where it talks about all the nations on the earth having a particular part in spoiling us as a nation, taking and raping our women, destroying our sanctuaries, and, you know, destroying our altars where we would serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. You know, make sacrifice unto Him. You know, they've robbed and spoiled us as a nation, right? And that's hell, right? Hell being conditioned. The fact that we have to go through that is hell. But the point I wanted to make is these people that have inherited these things throughout the generations from their forefathers spoiling the children of Israel, these other nations' forefathers, right? We're now paying for it, where their children are actually born, as we say, with a silver spoon in their mouth. You know, they haven't had to go through any particular suffering. They haven't had to go through the blood, the sweat, and the tears of building up this evil and sinful kingdom. You know, that's the Israelites that have labored, and someone else has inherited the labors that we have worked on. Meaning, you know, it says we will build and not and plant and build and not reap the fruits thereof. These other nations have reaped the fruits of our doings. Right? Normally it goes back to the disobedience of the children of Israel, but we know these other heathens have furthered the affliction. The point is, these people that are walking the earth now have had generational benefits, meaning they've inherited certain riches, land. You know, they've inherited these things off the blood and sweat of the Israelites. And now we're coming back to remembrance, you know, these other, even some of our own people that have been plagued with what we would call Stockholm syndrome. You know, now they want to, they'd rather look after master than, you know, look for the well-being of their nation. Right, so we're going to have to endure the sufferings, just like Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who suffered. Job being a great example, a perfect example, because he was perfect, right? He eschewed evil, right? He went through that fiery trial, right? He was tested, he was tried and refined, right? All that stuff that Job went through, when you read that book, right, it made him stronger. And the point is, we being in this situation right now, it doesn't feel like at times that you progress. You know, I've heard brothers say that you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, but ultimately, the more time you spend in this prison in hell, the more we cleave onto the Heavenly Father in this spiritual lockdown, you know, because this flesh locks in our spirit from really doing what they say you wouldn't be able to perform the things that you would. The flesh lusteth against a spirit, the spirit against the flesh. They're both contrary. So being in this flesh, this actually restricts us. This is our chains of darkness, or a prison, right? So we have to go through this prison sentence, if you like, to appreciate what's been promised to those that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai loves, or those that love Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? So we have to go through this fiery trial, this hell, this prison, to get those glorified bodies, right? And we got to be willing and understand, and you know, and take it cheerfully, all these things that are brought upon us. And it seems tough at the time. You know, I know a lot of brothers and sisters that are being afflicted, you know, and we all are, because we're all under the curses. But know that this is a trial of our faith. Who's going to flake when the kitchen, you know, when it gets hot in the kitchen? Who's going to step out, or who's going to find ways and means to continue to endure? And that's who the Heavenly Father is looking for. A good soldier is going to stand on business no matter what, striving unto death. That's what a good soldier is going to do, knowing that the cause that he's fighting for is going to benefit him, and not him only, but the nation that he comes from. Right? So although we go through and endure this prison, hey, never give up, because we have to go through this prison to appreciate the palace, you know, from a prison to a palace. Think of it that way. And when we inherit these things, right, these promises that was promised to the children of Israel and no other nation, when we inherit these things, we're going to appreciate it. We're going to appreciate it, because we're going to know what hell feels like. We're going to go from the bottom of the top, as it says about promotion coming from Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, and the kingdom being translated from one people to another. That's going to be the elect, the remnant that are going to cleave unto the Heavenly Father, right, are going to be rightful judges, going through that fiery trial, because we got to understand what we signed up for. So going through it, and then pretty much reaping the benefits from it. You know, just like when you go to work at a plantation, you put in work and you get paid for it. And that's what we're doing. We're working our work B times, that then in due season we reap, and due season we receive our reward, and that rest and that peace that the Heavenly Father has promised. Right? You can read that throughout the whole scriptures. right? But we have to go through a certain growth process, a growing process, a certain fiery situations, uncomfortableness. Remember, this ain't our place of rest, so we have to go through uncomfortable conditions and understanding what it feels like to go through these uncomfortable conditions. Just like I've made this analogy before, just like a caterpillar going into that cocoon, right? If that's what you call it. Now that can't be the most, it's probably tight in there, but that caterpillar understands that he can't just try and break out that cocoon early because he's not going to be fully developed, right? So we're being developed and we're growing to real soldiers. We're growing to be wise men. That's what the Heavenly Father's causing this time to do for us. This time that we've been granted, that's been granted unto us. This grace period. A time to get ourselves right. So going back to the analogy of the caterpillar, right? That caterpillar is probably in a tight, a tight situation in that cocoon. But he can't go out early because you're going to be missing, it's not going to be fully developed into a butterfly. You're going to be missing a wing. So the Heavenly Father, or whatever the case may be, but the Heavenly Father knows the exact time and process that you need to go through to reach your full potential. And this is why we don't force the course, as the story of the tortoise and the hare also, slow and steady wins the race. Not burning out, but pacing yourself through this trial. And when the time is right, the Heavenly Father will have you burst out of that cocoon, come out of this prison, come out of these chains of darkness, and be in that glorified flesh, glorified body, be in that glorified state, right? But until then, we're going to have to continue to endure. That's why it talks about in enduring unto the end and enduring all things. Not just for us, but for the elect's sake. So although it seems like, which it is, a lifetime for many of us, especially those brothers and the elders that have been in the truth for years, it's literally been a lifetime on this side for them. But their faith is what has them to continue to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai, knowing that in due season they're going to reap the fruits of their, they're going to benefit off the fruits of their labor. They're going to, during that time of harvest, reap bountifully, right? So we have to, I guess what I wanted to put out here is, although we're going through this trial, this prison, know that we have to go through this to understand what it is, what evil is, understand what it's like to be to not have nothing. So when we do finally reap our reward, we really go and appreciate it and glorify Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And we do that now through the thick and thin, knowing that what the latter end has for us, has waiting for us. Adonai Matazah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to get. Yeah, we suffer. We're around some shit, man. I know brothers, sisters sin some shit. We sin some shit. We've been through some shit. Been through some real tough times. Nor either do we ever try to compare each other's struggles, if you like, trial. We do not try and compare it one to another, because we're going through our individual trials. We're going through what has been allotted to us to go through in order for us to grow to our full potential. All of them may waver in different ways. Nevertheless, we're all going through a fiery trial. So don't compare yours thinking yours is worse than another, brothers or sisters. But we just all got to endure unto the end and help each other out. Use brothers, use sisters, whatever the case may be, that we do come out at the end of this fiery trial purified 7 times 777 times. So that's all I've got. Right, keep pushing. Akim Akoff. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Shalom, shalom.